Majora's Mask is a staple in modern-day 3D platform video gaming. If one were to ask the Legend of Zelda community what game they hold in highest esteem, it would easily make the top 5, if not the top 2. Granted, upon playing it for 10 minutes, you would be forgiven for condemning it as little more than a cheap ROM hack of its predecessor, Ocarina of Time. After all, it certainly pulls no punches in its incessant recycling of resources. However, you'd also be sorely mistaken. Majora's Mask is so much more. It's brimming with revolutionary ideas that have changed the face of the gaming industry permanently. But is it all for good? Immediately we get introduced to an adventure not quite like the usual Zelda format. Sure, Link scavenges various dungeons, unlocking new items and making friends along the way, but even seasoned Zelda players could only fail to sufficiently stress the extent to which they have found themselves thrown for a loop when playing this Nintendo 64 not-so-hidden gem. Indeed, Majora's Mask takes the Legend of Zelda franchise and flips it on its side. Sure, this game would appear, to a first approximation, as what one would assume it to be, a video game. But when you look deeper, you start to realize that it's so much more. A lot of the symbolism that we see in Nintendo's Millennium Enigma seems to be a nod to some very significant concepts within the framework of analytical psychology, particularly in relation to the works of Carl Jung and Erich Neumann. Well, you'll see what I mean. Very early on, we're introduced to the premise of the masks. In some of the opening scenes, we see Link confront the creepy skull kid in the forest who uses the power of the Majora's Mask, or to go by the Japanese original standard of release, Majora's Mask. We see Link screaming in unspeakable agony as he experiences vivid hallucinations of the Dekus, but not quite in the way that we remember them. Suddenly he changes into a Deku himself, as his identity and way of life is sucked away from him. Here we see the Jungian persona, the idea that we put on masks in everyday life depending on the social situation. What's this moon about? What's his business up there? Will he come down? Yes, in 3 days to be precise. This time frame might immediately strike a chord with some of the more astute viewers. Why 3 days? Who took 3 days to come out of the tomb? That's right, Jesus Christ. A central pillar in the axiomatic structure of Christianity is the idea of the cross. What the Bible teaches us is that the cross represents being, or the point of intersection between the Great Father and the Great Mother. This intersection is the incorporation of our own responsibility, which in Link's case is to save the clock town from complete annihilation. One can see how the complete archetypal picture of reality as a forum for action can be mapped onto that of the game. Because no matter what, when all the chips are down, Link plays the Song of Time and returns to the source, Clock Town. The clock rewinds, and Link reincorporates the burden of responsibility. Odal is the first major boss in the game. What he says during the fight is actually quite unintelligible, but there is one phrase that echoed through my mind. It kept me up at night for 3 weeks until it clicked. Put your pajamas away. What could he possibly be referring to? The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is about a Jewish boy living in a concentration camp under Nazi Germany. Let that sink in. By pajamas, Odal refers to Judeo-Christian values upon which Western society is predicated. So why is he telling you to put them away? Is this a call to nihilism? To the abandonment of belief? This is a shocking revelation when one points to the works of Friedrich Nietzsche, the man who diagnosed the death of God. To deny oneself their own faith is to abandon the metaphysical underpinnings that characterize meaning, the mechanism by which we offset existential suffering. Consequently, one is tempted towards the allure of a complete theoretical framework in conceptualizing the world. Such was the folly of Raskolnikov in Dostoevsky's greatest work, Crime and Punishment. Such was also the folly of 20th century totalitarianism in Soviet Russia and Maoist China, bringing us closer to the apocalyptic outcome of mutually assured destruction. Sound familiar? The moon, ready to bring death upon us all. Majora's Mask is unique in that you don't just play the game, you experience it. You're not just simply making a little boy called Link obey your every command. In this game, you become Link and experience everything that he experiences, including the insufferable pain that comes every time Link transforms. Indeed, every time I equip the ocarina using my Nintendo controller, I swear I can feel the moist saliva residue in the mouthpiece. But I digress. Throughout the entire time that you run around collecting rupees, the clock is ticking. You can play the inverted Song of Time to slow time down, but alas, this only postpones the inevitable. This really speaks to the simple fact that death is coming for us all, but the Majora's Mask video game really compacts this existential conundrum into a conceivable time frame. making it exponentially worse. If only we could play the Song of Time and go back to the good old days. So many missed opportunities. So many regrets. Also, another interesting feature about the game is that when you're the Deku Kid, you can shoot bubbles. It's really funny. Majora's Mask manages to set itself apart by weaving novel gameplay and watertight mechanics, with symbolic undertones and thought-provoking story elements. No doubt it holds up to the standards of today, earning its place in the Hall of Game Fame as a masterpiece, if not an absolute staple in the gaming universe. It doesn't just make you have fun, it makes you think, and in the end you're left wondering, what is my purpose on this tiny blue dot that we call planet Earth?